Hello everybody, welcome to your Sunday race preview for the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, and this is being filmed on Saturday evening to be broadcast Sunday morning. Our usual transmission will start at 9:30 UK time with the live build-up, and hopefully I'll be in slightly better clothes and a bit more bushy-eyed than I am right now. It's currently we're filming this at 11 o'clock in the evening UK time after a very busy day of getting everything sorted, but what a qualifying we had. Lance Stroll on pole position. The reason it's taken so long, we had to wait as penalties have been applied. But finally, we now have an official-ish grid going into tomorrow's Grand Prix. And I cannot wait to get started. But as ever, let's take a look at the drivers of the Constructors' Championship coming into today's race. The Istanbul City Circuit, located in Turkey, hosts the 14th round of the Formula 1 season for 2020. Just 4 races remain in the Formula 1 campaign of this rescheduled year. For the first time since 2011, it's the Turkish Grand Prix, and it provides Lewis Hamilton with his first opportunity to win a 7th world title. In 2 weeks' time, we are off to Bahrain for the Bahrain Grand Prix. A week later, it's the Shakir Grand Prix on the Outer Loop circuit, followed by the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on the 13th of December. Lewis Hamilton stands his first chance of winning the 2020 season. He sits on 282 points. Bottas is 197. If Hamilton scores more than 7 more points than Valtteri, he's a 7-time champion. Max Verstappen, well, he's in a battle of his own, really. So it's now looking between Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Alexander Albon, Pierre Gasly, all in the top 10, fighting for 4th in the championship. On the second page, well, it's then we see Lance Stroll still in the fight with Gasly, just a little bit further behind. Ocon really in 12th place, languishing in his own. And then Danny Kvyat is 13th, and in his worst season in Formula 1, Sebastian Vettel is down in 14th place with just 18 points. Nico Hülkenberg, though, still 15th on 10. 4 points apiece for the Alfa Romeo boys. Raikkonen ahead of Giovinazzi, 2 for Grosjean, 1 for Magnussen, and sadly no points on the board for Williams of Latifi or Russell. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes have done it. They were crowned as 7 times champion last time out at Imola. And now Red Bull, well, they've secured in 2nd place, but it's the battle for 3rd. Renault, McLaren, Racing Point, all within a point of each other. The race there is hotting up. Renault 135, McLaren, Racing Point 134. Ferrari is 6th. Yes, 6th on 103. AlphaTauri 89, 8 points for Alfa Romeo, 3 points for Haas, and no points on the board for Williams. It's the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, and this is your Sunday race preview. It's a wonderful circuit. We haven't been here since 2011. Here's Lap Attack on the F1 2011 game with Codemasters with the Red Bull RB6. Let's take a look around the 5.338 kilometre circuit of Istanbul Park. 58 laps ahead of us, a lap record of a 120.770 set by one Pablo Montoya in 2005. Start the lap. Head downhill, open up the DRS zone into the downhill braking zone for turn 1. Be careful not to let the car go too deep, but you can pick up a very late apex as you hurtle uphill through 2 into the uphill heavier braking zone into turn 3. Banked part of the circuit, you immediately drop down the hill to turn 4. A sharp 90-degree right-hander into the 90-degree left at turn 5 and 6. Open up the kinetic energy system on the car as you launch uphill towards turn 7 before the fearless triple apex of turn 8. The drivers say this one is really going to be felt on the necks. 3 times left, left and left again, all by trying to keep at full throttle at over nearly 200 miles an hour in a 2020 car. Drop down the hill, another 90 left, into the braking zone at turn 9 and turn 10, back back up towards the second DRS detection point on the track at turn number 11. Now run all the way uphill with the DRS open into the braking zone of turn 12. Seeing, of course, of Red Bull making their famous 1-2 crash in 2010. Hard on the brakes and overtaking opportunity here before the quick kink into turn 13. And the last corner, turn 14, hug the inside curb, open up the DRS once again and fire it to a line. That is a lap of the Istanbul Park circuit here for the Turkish Grand Prix. Well, let's start as ever with qualifying number 1, and eventually we did get going. Verstappen was top, Grosjean caught out, brought out another red flag with 3 minutes 30 to go, but the session started in biblical conditions. It started on time at the top of the hour, but with 6 minutes and 57 seconds to go, they decided that was it. They were having cars spinning off left, right and centre. The track was flooded more than what we saw in Free Practice 3, and the track was absolutely not drivable. So they backed out of it, brought out the red flag, and for 45 minutes we sat down and we waited until the session could restart. And when it did, we only had another 3 minutes before Romain Grosjean spun off into the gravel trap at turn 1, doing a 360 around, getting caught out in the banked part of turn 1's apex, and off into the gravel he went, brought out the red flag. Another 10-minute delay, session got restarted, and finally, when it ended, it was the better time. Ocon set the early pace in Renault, 7 seconds separating the entire field, but then we started spins and the red flag came out as well. Gasly and Leclerc in the drop zone. Verstappen was on the bubble as well, but when the session restarted, Leclerc and Gasly got themselves through as Verstappen went fastest overall. Conditions improved. Hamilton failing to improve after running wide at turn 1, losing the lap time. He only stayed 14th fastest. But Kevin Magnussen, Danny Kvyat, George Russell, Romain Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi. Latifi spun off actually into the gravel trap, bringing out the double yellow in the closing minutes. All of them eliminated from the session. And then we got the news that all of the Q1 times that were set in the last minute under the yellow flag were under investigation by the stewards because they'd all gone faster. And that included the eventual pole sitter as well. So eliminated in Q1, we saw Magnussen, Kvyat, Russell, Grosjean and Latifi. Into qualifying 2 then, and Verstappen again was fastest. He was really going for the grand slam of topping every single session, leading every single lap, and winning the race with the fastest lap. He was going for it, wasn't he, by topping Q2. McLaren, though, and Ferrari had their horrible session. Norris out, Vettel out, Sainz out, Leclerc out, and Gasly out as well. It was a completely unpredictable Q2. But qualifying 2 started with the marshals still recovering the car of Nicholas Latifi from the gravel trap, and they sent them out, or just yellows out. Everyone was saying that was way too dangerous. The stewards have said, we apologise and we'll make sure it never happens again. Yeah, they said that 6 years ago. It's a stupid decision. We've got a tractor on the track in these conditions where cars are spinning off, even when it was dry yesterday, and now we've added water to the mix. Don't send the cars out. That was the stupidest decision I think I've seen from Formula 1 and the FIA in recent years. Don't do it again. I think I speak for everyone when I say I mean that. It was horrible seeing that we could have had a major accident and the carelessness of the race director there. Going forward then, as the session entered the final 4 minutes, the times begin to cut down. It seemed like intermediates were the way to go. Mercedes finally showing pace. Bottas and Hamilton second and third. Alfa Romeo getting through to qualifying 3 for the first time in 2020. Both Raikkonen and Giovinazzi going through. But Ferrari and McLaren eliminated. They never got through. Sainz was summoned to the stewards for allegedly impeding Sergio Perez as well. But knocked out was Norris, Vettel, Sainz, Leclerc and Gasly. And into qualifying 3. Racing Point absolutely blows away the competition. At first, it was Sergio Perez who set the fastest time, initially choosing for intermediates the right point. Lance Stroll, his teammate, doing the same. So for about 2 minutes to go, it was a racing point 1-2 with Perez on pole and Stroll in second. Verstappen came up and managed to split them, but it was a mega time, not just from Sergio Perez, but from Lance Stroll. 1.5 seconds faster. It is a fantastic time that put him onto pole position. It is Lance Stroll on pole position, the first Canadian since Jacques Villeneuve to take pole at 22 years and 17 days. He's the 5th youngest driver in Formula 1 history to take a pole position. Perez was quickest, but it did end up with Stroll from Verstappen in second, and then Perez starts third, and I think we've got Albon in fourth as well. It is going to be a fantastic race. The top 5 then from this one, it's Stroll, Verstappen, Perez, Albon, and Ricciardo, the top 5. When was the last time we saw Mercedes not on the front row or anything else bar a Red Bull, Ferrari or Mercedes take a pole position, you ask? Well, it was a Williams front row at the Austria Grand Prix in 2014. That was the last time, 7 years ago. Wow! So here's the starting grid then for the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix. Lance Stroll starts on pole position for the very first time in his Formula 1 career. Alongside him is Max Verstappen. Row 2 sees Sergio Perez alongside Alexander Albon. So it's Racing Point Red Bull, Racing Point Red Bull in the first 2 rows. Daniel Ricciardo starts in 5th place. The highest Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton in 6th place. Right now, where he starts, he can be world champion here today. Falling back, Esteban Ocon starts 7th. Kimi Raikkonen is 8th, the highest of the season so far for the Alfa Romeo. Valtteri Bottas starts 9th. He's got a lot of work to do today if he wants to stop Lewis being the champion. And Antonio Giovinazzi rounds out the top 10. Sebastian Vettel is 11th alongside Charles Leclerc 12th. They've been bumped up a few places. Pierre Gasly 13th. Kevin Magnussen 14th. Lando Norris 15th. And requires a 5-place grid penalty for not respecting the yellow flags at the start of, the end of qualifying 1 and the start of qualifying 2 for not respecting them by not driving too slowly. So he gets a 5-place grid penalty. Carlos Sainz gets a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Sergio Perez in qualifying number 2 and starts 16th. 17th and 18th sees Danica Kvyat alongside Romain Grosjean. Nicholas Latifi starts 19th and George Russell starts 20th, as he has both a 5-place grid penalty for also not respecting the yellow flags at the end of Q1, and he's required to start at the back of the grid for an additional power unit element used. So the rain is predicted here today as well. Right now, the track hasn't dried much since what we saw, so this is going to be a really interesting run just to see what's going to happen in terms of the race. So keep your fingers crossed. It could be a wet race, it could be a dry race, but either way, this circuit is slippery. We're in for what should be a classic title decider. We're back, 9:30 a.m. UK time. Join us to watch. Bye for now.